everybody. Today we're going to be looking at second inversion triad, so this is an introduction to that. And if you recall, to get to the first inversion triad, we started with root position. In this case, this is a D minor root position triad. And then we just brought the D up an octave, leaving the third of the triad, the F, on the bottom. Well, to get to the second inversion, we're going to bring this F up an octave, leaving the fifth of the triad on the bottom. So once again, with root position, we have the root on the bottom. And with first inversion, we have the third on the bottom. And then with second inversion, the fifth is on the bottom. And as I explained earlier, each of these particular types of chords have a distinct psychological effect on the listener. So the root position chord is relatively stable. We could begin a song with that and end the song with that because we're hearing a D in the bass. As soon as we go to first inversion, though, the third is now in the bass, and perhaps it's a little unstable and wants to bring us somewhere else. Something like that. Well, when we get to the second inversion, this is very different now. It's like portending that the end is near, because we're hearing, let's just say we're in the key of D minor, and this is the one chord. And we're hearing the one chord, but there's an A on the bottom now. And so the feeling is, well, something's coming up here really important. And then, yes, maybe an A chord follows, and then a cadence back to one. And if we check out the intervals, root position, you have all thirds stacked together like hamburgers. First inversion, you have the third on the bottom, F to A, and you have a perfect fourth, so the gap is on the top. Now with second inversion, you have the fourth on the bottom and the burgers on the top, the third on the top. So it's important that you play these and you write these so that these are going to show up in music all the time, and you'll immediately know what they are. So as far as the fingering changes for the right hand and the left hand are concerned, we're going to do that in the next video when we play these together. So let's do some writing. And the more you write, the easier it is to read. It's just like learning a language. So we're going to start with C major and put in the triad like this, C, E, G. And I forgot to mention, you need to download this sheet so that you can do this with me. So do that right now, okay? All right, so now you're back. You've downloaded the sheet. And we're just going to construct the triad. So C major, C, E, G. All right, now we're going to bring the C up here. We're going to keep the E and the G. Bring the C up above. And get our first inversion triad. Looks pretty funky. All right, and then we're going to keep the G and the C and bring the E up for second inversion. All right, let's try it with D minor now. So we have, I'm going to make the notes a little smaller. D, F, A, and that becomes F, A, D. Now you can see the gap better. Well, almost. Now you have A, D. There you go. Now you can see the gap of the fourth. All right. And E minor, E, well, let's do it this way. E, G, and B. This is one way to do it. So we have E, G, B, which becomes G, B, E. And then we have B, E, and G. Okay, F major, F, A, C. First inversion, we're going to keep the A and C, bring the F up on top. A, C, F. There you can see the gap of the fourth on top, third on the bottom. All right, second inversion, C, F, and a ledger line A. Let's try G major. We have G, B, D. Construct a root position triad, GBD. First inversion, the G comes up an octave, the B and D remain where they are. B and D, G is up here now. Second inversion, the D and the G remain where they are, and the B slides up an octave. Okay, A minor, I'll do it, each time I'll do it a little differently. A, C, E is A minor, root third and fifth. So root position, A, C, E, first inversion, C, E, ledger line A. Okay, the A is coming up. All right, second inversion, we keep the E and the A. And we're bringing this C up to the second ledger line above the treble staff. So when you have two ledger lines above the treble staff, that's also a C. That's the two C's above middle C. All right, and B diminished, we have B, D, F, root position. First inversion is going to be D, F, need a ledger line, B. And second inversion, we're going to keep the F and the B. So we have F, ledger line B, and we need the C ledger line because we're going to put the D on top. All right, so the D here slid up an octave to this D. All right, we're going to take G major now and drop it down an octave. And I'm doing this because you're likely to see these in music. So I just wanted to give you all of the probable things that you will see in the future. So to drop this down an octave, look at what we have to do. Here's the C line, middle C. This is the A below middle C. So here's our G below middle C. And then the B below middle C is here. And then, of course, there's D. So let's see what this looks like. So we need GBD. There's root position. First inversion is BDG, And second inversion is D, G, B. And I just realized I forgot to make all of these half notes. They're all half notes. And when everything starts going above the middle line, you can start bringing the stem down like that. Sloppy, but all right. F, F, F. All right, G. It's a toss-up. A minor. And B diminished. All right, so stems would come up here. Okay, all right, let's move on to A minor now. So we have, here's middle C. A is below that, so we have A, C, E. First inversion, C, E, A. Gaps on the top for first inversion, burgers are on the bottom. Second inversion, we have E, A, and C. Now, the perfect fourth or the gap is on the bottom, burgers are on the top. Also, always remember, root on the bottom, third on the bottom, fifth on the bottom for second inversion here. All right, B diminished now. We have the C ledger line, middle C. So B is right below that. D, F. First inversion, D, F. Keep the D and the F. The B slides up an octave like that. Okay, second inversion, we're going to keep the F and the B. And the D comes up an octave. And we need our stems. There we go. All right, let's look at bass clef now. We want E minor, and we're going to start on the ledger line below the staff. So this line is E, and it's two E's below middle C. So we have E, G, and B. First inversion, G, B, E. Second inversion, B, E, and G. Okay? So roots on the bottom, E, thirds on the bottom, G, fifths on the bottom, B. All right, let's go on to F. F is hanging off the bottom of the staff. F, A, the third, C, the fifth. So we have FAC, root position, ACF, first inversion, CFA. Now let's put in our stems. All right, G major, we're on the bottom line now. G, third is B, the fifth is D. So we have GBD, and the G comes up an octave, so we have B, D, and G is up here now. thirds on the bottom, B. All right, we're going to keep the D and the G and move the B up an octave. All right, put our stems in. There you go. All right, A minor right here on the bottom space is A, followed by C and E, root position A, C, E, first inversion C, E, A. Okay, now we're going to keep the E and the A and bring this bottom C up to this ledger line for second inversion. Stems, and we're done. All right, let's move on to B diminished. So that's the second line, B, and then the third is D, fifth is F. So root position, we have BDF. First inversion, DFB. Second inversion, we keep the F and the B. And we have a D on top. Now, I just realized when I was explaining second inversion, I explained that there was a perfect fourth on the bottom, and that's not always the case. See, with the diminished triad, you start off, B to F here is a diminished fifth. So when you start inverting, the F to B here is not a perfect fourth, it's an augmented fourth. Similarly here, F to B is an augmented fourth. The point is that with second inversion, you have the fourth on the bottom, whether it's the perfect fourth or an augmented fourth. All right, and we'll put stems in. All right, let's look at C now. C, E, G, root position, first inversion, E, G, C, we come up to the ledger line, middle C, second inversion, G, C, now we need a ledger line for E, G, C, E, stems, we're done. Okay, D minor, we have D, third is F, fifth is A. Let me move this over a little bit. So root position, D, F, A, first inversion, F, A, ledger line, and D sits on top of the ledger line. Okay, we kept the F and the A from the root position triad, right? And then we moved this D up an octave. And now we're going to do the same. We're going to keep the A and the D. And we're going to move the F up above this D, like that. Okay? It's a little extreme, but it's close. All right, here we'll have down stems. There you go. All right, now we're going to continue on with E minor, E, G, B. We already did it up here, pretty low down in the bass area. Now we're an octave above this. So this is the E below middle C now. So we have E, G, B for root. and then followed by G, B, and we need a ledger line above the C ledger line. Okay, and now we're going to keep the B and the E. See if I can get my hand out of the way here. Here's the E, and this G swings up to 3 ledger lines above the staff. Okay, and put in our stems. All right, F major. Now we're an octave above this grouping. So we're at the F right below middle C. Then the third is A. Middle C is the 5th of the triad. And we're going to get a lot of ledger lines happening here. F, A, C is our root. Keeping the A and the C, and bringing the F up above the E ledger line now, like that. Okay, F is coming up. Now we're keeping the C and the F, so we have C, ledger line E, and the F goes on that. And now the A comes up above C, E, G ledger line. So this is an A. And I realize this is kind of extreme, but it might show up in some music that you're playing. So I just want to give you all the different options. All right, so stem down, and stem down. And last is G. We have G, B, and the 5th is D. So let's move it over. I'll extend the pencil here, the pen. G, B, ledger line D. Okay, the B and the D remain. And the G comes up. So we go ledger line C, E, G. This is the G above middle C. Sometimes the left hand has to play there. There you go. And now we're going to keep the D and the G. So we have ledger line E, ledger line G. Going to keep that. Ay, 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 look at this. And now we're going to come up to a 4th ledger line, which is B. All right. Yes, and that is it. So we have GBD, BDG, and then DGB. And that does it. So stay tuned for next lesson, and we'll be playing these, and then I'll go over the fingering changes, and that will be the gateway then to doing these in all of the major keys. And with that, I'll see you next time. Please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button, and if you want to receive notifications of new videos, there's a little bell next to the subscribe button that you can hit, and that will happen then for you. All right, so until next time, we'll see you.